Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Looped In with Maritza. My name is Maritza Gertie. I am the Northeast Regional Organizer for the National Parents Union. I am a Philadelphia parent, grandparent, wife, mother, daughter, sister, cousin, friend, you know, co-worker, advocate. So what we're going to be doing is I always begin my with a little bit of commentary and some information for all of you just to share. Um, Ken, I see you. Don't worry about it. I will bring you on when I'm ready to introduce you. Thank you for being for being here today. I was a little worried, family, because I thought that my guest may have had some issues coming on, but he is here, and I will bring him on momentarily. But once again, thank you very much for everybody coming on. And let me begin with a few announcements. For those of you that are interested in being a member of the National Parents Union, all you would need to do is go to our website, www.nationalparentsunion.org. On there is the individual membership tab as well as the organizational membership tab. The website has been totally revamped. So for anyone who's interested in checking it out, here's the website address here for you to be able to access it. If you would like any kind of information regarding the National Parents Union, here is our email, info@npunion.org. That email is monitored, so you will be getting a response. If you have a question, if you have a concern, if you have a comment regarding the National Parents Union, that is the email where you can send your information. Family, we are still in a pandemic. Although a lot of things have eased up with regards to restrictions, please make sure that you and your family and loved ones are safe. Please continue to wear your mask as necessary and where it is required. Even if it's in an area or location where it's not required, if you are not familiar with everyone's status of where you are, just keep yourselves and your loved ones safe and continue to wear your masks. Also, National Parents Union has a Facebook page. National Parents Union also has regional pages. We have a Northeast regional page, a Midwest regional page, a Southern page, a Texas region page, and I'm quite sure we're going to be having a Western region page. And please, there is a difference. Being a person that is on a regional page does not automatically make you a member. So those are two different things. If you choose to do both, that's great. But please keep in mind that just because you request to be added to the regional page, that does not automatically make you a member of the National Parents Union. We would also love for you to be a member as well. The Ray of Hope project just recently finished a toy drive. So I'm hoping that those of you that were able to make a donation were able to do so. And I believe if you still want to make a donation, just go on to the Ray of Hope Facebook page. And I'm quite sure that Mr. Ray will still be happy to accept your donation for the toy drive. There are many children that are in need of some gifts for this upcoming holiday season. So please don't forget those individuals that are less fortunate than us and make a donation. The National Parents Union is currently in the midst of what is called the EPIC campaign. And this is where we hold school boards accountable for how they spend funding for our children. The link is here. It's also on the National Parents Union page. The EPIC campaign, everyone is being asked if you choose to join the EPIC campaign. What that will do is provide you with the information and the resources and the toolkits to assist you in questioning your local school boards, your local school districts, your schools, and ask them what is it that they're doing with the funds that have been allocated to them during this pandemic. Resources, and I mean millions, close to billions, have been allocated for school districts across the country to help with our children's education. You have seen there have been many instances where these funds have not been used for our children. They've been used to improve athletic fields. It's been used to improve weight rooms. They're not being used for social emotional learning. They're not being used to help our children catch up for all the time that they lost for the past 18 or more months during this pandemic, as far as learning access. So please join the Epic campaign if you are one of those folks that really wants to make sure that they understand where this money is going. And you all should know that you have a right to know where these funds and how these funds are being used. One moment here, please. Okay. And now I'm going to bring on my guest, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself, and we will jump right into our topic for today. Hello, welcome.
Hey, you can hear me cool?
Yes, it's so good to see you, and I'm happy you came on. I was like, oh,
No,
is he okay?
no, it's cool.
So,
I was trying to make sure my son was situated before we started.
oh, no, no, believe me, I truly understand. So, for those that do not know you, please introduce yourself.
Yep. So I'm Ken. I founded and started my recent startup called Born Anew, and that is to just enhance Black boys, Black men well-being, meet their basic and complex needs. Um, Licensed social worker in PA. I do therapy, one-on-one sessions, coaching, workshops, sometimes speaking engagements, training sessions. And I liked a lot of what you talked about before about the funds that these schools are getting. And of course, it's not going to social emotional learning. And that's my next, that is what I am running fast towards right now, is to reach out to as many schools as I can to help do trainings for their teachers, for their staff, to better assist or learn how to better assist Black boys and help during this time. And not even during this time, just in general, but then also offer, like, know that I am a resource that they can send young men to. And I know other men who, right, may want to mentor or just be there. So that's who I am.
So, Ken, I just found out, well, a lot of people across the city found out overnight, basically, a lot of things that have been happening across the city every day. And it's so this number came up last night, 487. And for those that do not know, that is a total amount of people that have been killed in the city of Philadelphia as a result of gun violence. And it's hard. And a lot of our young people, especially our men, they can't handle anger. So let's talk about that. How do we help our young men, our men, our boys, our sons, our brothers handle anger?
Yeah. Uh, that's a big question. That was the thing that I had to question and ask myself as well. And I think a place to start is to understand your importance, or like your self-worth or your value. Because I got some stuff that I want to read, but it gets very deep about how if you don't value yourself, your own life, because we just been taught not to, of how you
Yes.
interpret or understand love, other people, um, you perpetuate that hurt. And there's a saying that says hurt people, right? But I believe that hurt people can
Yes.
also heal people. And so one way to really get a hold on your anger is to start to question. When I start to work with teenagers, I make them question everything, right? Like, we wake up and we just go throughout our day, and probably don't even remember what happened in the morning once 3 o'clock hit. And it's like, I need you to question everything, like question all of this, the choices you have made, whether you realize you was making them or not. Um, and we can start to work our way backwards into figuring out what that is. And a lot of the times it's not even their fault. It's just stuff that happened to them. And we don't know how to process it when it happened because it came too strong. It was too fast. It was overwhelming. And the only thing that seems to be accepted, or like the way that we feel we get respect, is through anger and violence and trying to belittle somebody else.
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. And that's something that, it touches home to a lot of us because it's gotten to the point where a lot of our young people feel, and it's a shame that a lot of them feel that resorting to violence is some kind of badge of honor.
Yeah, some sort of social status or something.
Exactly. And they're not understanding that that person that you are hurting is someone's child, is someone's grandchild, is someone's brother or sister. It's someone that when they left their house, when they left their home, their family has full expectation of seeing them walk through that door at the end of the day. And because you want to show that you have some kind of street credibility,
Yeah.
you're destroying families, not only the family of that person you're hurting, but you're also destroying your own family as a result, because there are always repercussions, there are always consequences. So even though it may be something that, half of the time the things that are happening in any city when it comes to gun violence, they may not catch the perpetrator immediately, but it will eventually happen. The hope is that eventually it will happen, and that when it happens, it's not just one family that's affected, it's two families that end up being affected for life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and I've seen a lot of your posts, and I've seen some of the things where you put, and it was really it really, you know came home for me, because I try, in our family we try to show and express, love. We let, I've let my sons know that it's okay to say I love you to another man, to their father, to each other, to my sons, to each other as brothers. um my husband says I love you, and it's not anything that is ridiculed. It is something that is encouraged. And I have a 5-year-old. I mean, I have grown sons and I have a 5-year-old. So we show our sons, and we also have to show our daughters, that it is okay for a man to express emotion. I'm gonna let you talk about that, because I know that's one of the things that you probably talk to the young men you reach out to, and when you're talking
Yep.
to educators, and how they, how they talk to their scholars about it.
Yep. Um, that's big. So what we know, right? Like what research is showing, what we know is that the first 3 years of a person's life will shape the rest of their life. So a
Yes.
lot of the stuff that we seeing now as they hit teenage years, adolescent periods, and adulthood can most likely always be traced back to childhood. But I think what we miss is, which is why I like the middle school and teenage years, adolescent time period, is that that's another, that's like another gateway into possibly reshaping those uh, whatever you want to call it, bad habits, because their brain when you are born, so first to 0 to 3, you a sponge, as we all know, you soaking up everything. But when you hit 12, in between from 12 to 24, your brain is also going through another big change where it's super plastic, which means that like um, you can learn things. They can learn things a lot faster. They can take on a lot more. They're very emotionally charged. So there's a lot that is going to it during that 12 to 24 years of age time period, that teachers and whoever is working with children or people can help, and can do a good deed. The hard part is also is that for every like one negative thing you may hear, you need like a lot more to kind of like erase that one negative thing. So if somebody would say like, "Oh, why you crying?" Like, man up, that's going to be absorbed more because our brains are just wired for negativity more than they would say like, "Oh, whatever, I appreciate you, I love you." Like you're gonna have to reinforce the "I appreciate yous, I love yous," that support like 10 times more for that one thing. So if we constantly not hearing the "I love yous" or I'm here for you, or like when we ask you how your day been and really trying to figure out, like not letting them tell you, oh, I'm good or I'm cool. Um, Once we dig deep into those things, we can be able to just create spaces to where they call them safe spaces, but that word safe is very triggering for me. It's very hard for us black and brown people to have somewhere safe, but it's just a place that will allow them to be able to just be whoever they are. And so when helping when helping the boys, so for example, I had a client yesterday where we talked about uh, there's ways that you go about when you're talking to somebody and you asking them what happened. You got to do it in moderation. So we were slowly working our way back into dealing with a situation that was very traumatizing for him. But he started to cry, uh, and he said this was the first time he was actually like talking about it or explaining it. And I think, not to generalize, but I think he can, that just those few words can sum up a lot of what we all do as men. Is stuff happened to us and we supposed to keep going, right? They tell you like, keep your head up, you strong. During times when you may need a hug, they tell you, right, like, you got it, or I'm proud of you, king, or I see you doing your thing, right? Like, instead of embracing like you may be dealing with something right now, and you can still be a king, but you also dealing with something right now. So like, I'm here for that too. I'm not only here for seeing you be successful, whatever that look like, or I'm not only here to be like, oh man, you doing great out there, right? Like, I'm here to also say like, even if you not doing great, that's okay too. And so when he started to cry on our phone call, uh, I paused, uh, and I thanked him for being vulnerable. I thanked him for crying. I did get him a little bit of research about release when it comes to crying and the stuff that happens to his body. And then we also took a pause, like a mindfulness break of like being in that present moment. So we did some breathing exercises. But like this stuff is nothing new, and it's nothing that will take away from teachers. Like, like teachers complain like they got so much going on and it's too much happening, and they can't get their kids under control. It's because everybody's functioning out of chaos, right? We all going through a pandemic,
Yep.
and so research now also shows that since the pandemic, things like depression, the numbers has gone is wild. So schools, unfortunately, is like tasked with a lot to deal with, but they throwing money at a lot of things that's not sustaining people's well-being. Uh,
Yes.
so for boys, I think for us black and brown people, but for black men especially, grief, we don't address grief like the way that we grieve, even in our culture, right? So I'll be very vulnerable and honest. I just lost my pop on October 24th,
My
and I'm
condolences.
thank you, and I'm trying to like grieve with that, but our culture is like, you kind of just got to pick up and keep going. Like we always feel like we have to carry the world or be there for our family, whatever, and we don't spend time with ourselves. And you have to keep going. You have to keep going. So, for example, at in Philly, there's a number of high schools that I was reaching out to, but once they lose a student, um, they spend a day, not even a day, they spend a little bit of time maybe announcing something over the loudspeaker, whatever, and or telling teachers. They send out an email blast and telling teachers like, um, before each class, give your students, acknowledge what happened, give your students a little bit of time to acknowledge what happened. But like, you giving them 5 minutes per class. I don't know how many classes they got, whatever, 8 classes. You giving them not even an hour of the day to be able to process grief, but you expect them to continue to do work. You expect them to continue to perform in sports and arts and anything else, but not acknowledge like what they are actually dealing with. Like, the student as a whole. I think that's where my frustrations comes in with urban education. Like,
Yes.
um,
Did you notice the
you just
difference between how urban schools handle the loss of a student in comparison to schools that are more
yeah,
affluent? Like
yeah,
when something is made, when something is in the news, the passing of a student is in the news. If it's in a more affluent community, they'll state, that their schools will not be in session the following
yep,
day, and they're going to bring a whole uh
yep,
platoon
fleet,
of grief counselors. And for
yeah,
any student that or staff member that feels that they need it, they'll be there the entire day for the purpose of assisting the student population as well as the teaching staff or any of the adults in the building the opportunity to try to
Yeah,
handle some of that grief, as
yeah,
opposed to what you just said. And it's a
yeah,
case of the haves and the have-nots.
yeah. And the thing is, right, like there's a lot of us, like me and you, who would be willing to come in and put in the work and put in the time and effort. Um, schools is so urban education is so big on numbers and pushing us to go to college and like uh, college, but they not like understanding that these are human beings that's going to put forth in society after a while. And when we get to a certain whatever number in years, 3,000 and whatever, and then culture, whatever, it's not moving the way that we thought it would be. It's because now was the times to help build them up or help them understand how to do that so that they can help others when we not around, or when our time has to come to an end. And it's like we push college on them as if college is going to get rid of all of the stuff they have going on. You go to college and you're going to get a degree, and that's supposed to help you figure out life. And it does the complete opposite when they're not prepared. They go through another it's not a midlife crisis, but it feels like one for a 20-year-old. It's like they lost all over again. It's like they're a kid and they trying to figure out, well, where do I go and what do I even do? Or like, why did I even do this? And then they got debt on top of that. But then you push them into adulthood and like you need to get a job. They probably started families already, and so it's like we're not preparing people for life. And that's what my big mission is, right? It's like to just enhance your well-being and life. School and education is great. School and education can be superb in urban areas if we help, if we know that number 487
Mm,
is happening in kids. Is so like I can go into a high school, for example, my old high school, and you can look at some of the lockers, and if a kid passed, they'll tag up that locker, right? Like, what did y'all do for like? How are we remembering or honoring people? Also, when that happened, because a student may feel like, well, if I go by something that's out of my control, y'all just gonna push past me too, right? Like, where do we value life? You gonna give me 5 minutes for every class if I pass. I'm saying like, oh, remember when Ken, we loved him. All right, cool. Now we got to get to English and history, and it's like I don't feel that in urban education they have the money to, but the only time I ever saw the money really be pushed out, of course, is sports. We always get athletes to
yes.
come back and talk because of the stereotypes. But the other thing I see it get pushed to is like once the schools get that college matriculation rate, or like our attendance numbers is great. We focus on like just the numbers of things. Maybe that's because that's where the money has to come in from, but then they don't take advantage of once they have that money to be like, we want to. I just don't understand why how schools don't see that building up a child's social emotional well-being uh, can also produce crazy high grades, GPA. Like I don't
Yes.
see how they missing the like how you missing that and not realizing that
Yes.
they go hand in hand. College,
Absolutely.
going to college and then not addressing their mental health. It doesn't, like college has very high suicide rates. So it's like what are we going to talk about? Like what are we working on? And I pitched a number of things to schools before, and it's definitely a fight in urban education because the big thing is we don't have money. We don't have money, and it's like, no, y'all do.
Yes.
Y'all do have money. Yeah, I don't want to pay. But if I was a white male lawyer who been whatever, um, doing law for whatever amount of years, I can charge you 2,000 for an hour, and you won't question it. And it's because, right, like even in special education, there's so much when it comes to urban education that I just don't agree with. But like even with the ideas of special education, um, you know how many lawyers love special education because they know
Oh, yes.
we not putting forth in
Yes.
the our school district and our school settings is not. They just know they waiting for the loopholes. Like they know, like, all right, add these kids to that special education roster. Give it a year, we'll be in there, and we'll get you paid, and we'll get paid. And then at the same time, the parents, once they get paid from it, they don't take that money and do nothing better with it. The kid either still stays in that school, um, and we're just not. We are well equipped to deal with it, but we're not using our own people as resources. We can go
Yes.
anywhere and
Yes.
everywhere else to find a resource, and we're not using our own people as resources. There's a bunch of great local community advocates, and we just not using them. And I don't know what it is, right?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, I don't know what it is. Jobs want experience. They want you to graduate college and also have 10 years of experience, right? So I think it's the same thing with us. It's like, they will hire, before they hiring me and you, they want to hire somebody, I don't know, who don't look like us, to
Yeah.
come in and tell us that what we've been through is trauma. And then now you telling kids that like what they might have, their lifestyle is now traumatic. And it's like, it's a lot that goes into it that's very frustrating. And I just don't agree with, I don't agree with it at all. But sorry, not to go on a tangent, to get back to your point,
No, no, no.
how to
It's
help them
okay.
address anger. How to help them address
Yeah.
anger really is to help them see where, help them figure out where do you fit in. Like, what is it that you really want to do with your life? And I don't care what it is. We also have to allow people to just be creative and think big and dream big. Where do you fit in so that we can tap in? Because the frustration is coming from is like, it's just a battle of you trying to be something, and your environment may not be letting you, because you may have to fight, you may have to do this. So it's like, what is it that you really want to do? Then you work your way backwards and figuring out, uh, where that anger comes from. It could come from something in your childhood. You see kids all the time snap out because the teacher told them to shut up and sit down, and the teacher
Mm,
just like, teacher realized like, well, I didn't say anything. I just asked him to sit down and be quiet. But it was like, you don't know what those two words, shut up or
mm.
sit down, could link back to, because we don't spend no time on that. But then we want to diagnose his anger and say that he has some behavior issues, and we give him a packet full of just diagnoses and terms and medications, and never simply asking like, what did I like? How did I offend you? What happened? Let's work backwards. And that shut up and sit down could have came from their abuser at one point in time. So it's like,
Yes. Yes. I've run across situations where I've seen a lot of young people diagnosed with ODD, oppositional
yeah,
defiance disorder, and then
yeah,
it's
they
and
love
then
that.
it's like, yeah, the ODD, the
The ADD,
ADHD,
yeah, they love
the
those.
ADD, all of those acronyms that are given as labels for our children are things that really anger me, because I'm like, okay, if I know this young person and I speak to them every day, and good morning, good afternoon, how you doing, and it's just having that communication constantly. And it was like, I see this adult every day that speaks to me, that says hello, that asks me how I'm doing, that cares. And when that student is angry, that student will come to me. That student will come to me, and I'll be like, hey, come here for a minute, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So all it would take a lot of times is that one adult that is compassionate, that's
Yeah.
that's empathetic, that wants to, that doesn't think that they're too busy to talk to. And I understand, because I've seen it, Ken. I've seen it,
Yeah.
I know it. I know a lot of educators. I've come across them, I see them every day. They're tired. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
is tired.
For
So
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
like, these funds that have come down the pike, why not use it to invest in our most precious beings as these children, but also invested in our educators
Yeah,
and
for
our
sure.
counselors and our
Yeah.
therapists and
Yeah.
our psychologists, and people like you that have been trained, that can come into these schools and help these young people that will be our future caretakers, our future citizens, our future
Yeah.
voters, all of the people that are going to be taking care of us in the future, instead of just saying, well, I'm tired, I'm done, I don't want to deal with it, let their parents deal with it, or that's,
Yeah.
that's their family's problem. No, it's our problem as a community.
Yeah.
When we're not making a conscious choice to hold accountable those people that are in charge of that money, those resources that can also help our children. Because I'm like, okay, as a parent, I can request help. I can call the city, or the county, and ask, for mental health services for a family member or a child. But the school also needs to, the school districts also need to play an active role in helping, not enabling or labeling children, but
Yeah.
in helping them be able to also be that bridge of help and that understanding. And that's just me, saying that for me, that's just
Yeah.
common sense. My children are in your space for the longest portion of their day, their week, their year, their school
Yeah.
career. They spend the most time in the school system.
Yeah.
Why can't the school system take an interest in making sure that our children are okay? Work
Yeah.
together in conjunction with families and
Yeah.
caregivers to
Yeah.
make sure that they are healthy, not just academically, but also
Yeah.
socially and emotionally healthy or healthier. And then
Yeah.
if we see a child going down a particular path, help us guide them back, to keep them from becoming those young, frustrated young men, teenage boys, young boys, and even with young ladies too, because sometimes the things that are happening in our cities, women are also perpetrating these crimes. They don't know how to handle a difficult situation. They don't know how to de-escalate a conversation. They let things get to the point where they're so angry that they're going to resort to violence and chaos and disruption. I mean, I know you probably saw the story in Louisiana where it was just at a high school that it was just so bad
Yeah.
with the fighting,
And the dad
that
stepped
there
in.
was, and fathers stepped in. And I'm
There you
quite
go.
sure that not each and every one of them may have not been a father, it was just a concerned man
Yeah.
that said, you know what? We're not going to allow any more of our children end up being in a prison, being accused of committing a crime, being accused of violence, aggravated assault and battery. We're going to step in and help them choose a different path. If that can be replicated across this country, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
And the
would,
crazy thing was, right, like, not even the crazy thing, but the very human thing was that none of them had degrees in behavioral, right? Like even what I got a degree in, right? Because you don't you don't need that to care. You don't need
absolutely.
that to show love, right? You just need to in schools, um, and specifically urban education. They have to. We got to let go of these old systems and old ways of doing things. Right before there was a well, and they still do now, but instead of creating resources to help, we create further buildings that label you. So you go from if you keep getting in fights or you keep having behavior issues, this school not the right school for you. Let me put you in another school that's just like closer to more like prison. And then if that school not right, I'm gonna just keep putting
Yes.
you in. Then I'm gonna get you to a juvenile program, and then eventually I'm gonna
Ugh,
get you to prison. And it's like, dang, that was a lot of money that y'all just put into those three couple of buildings and systems that will eventually lead to prison, which is also a very rich industry. Where it's like, dang, if we could have took just a few dollars from that and put it towards like, let me create a safe room. One of the things I would love to do with schools is just create like actually a safe space where we pick a room in the school that a kid can go to that will right allow them to reset. Whether we play mindfulness music in there, there's things like certain things you can use with your hands, you can touch, you can feel to help you bring back. Uh, a lot of posters around the wall. Whether it's art that you can do, but like that room itself is like you go here to reset. You're not in trouble, but you need to reset because a lot of times, right, it's like 25 students for one teacher, and they may
yes.
not be able to be like, oh, hold on, let me stop and get with this one student. But it's like, can you go to this room? And maybe there should be somebody in that room too to assist or be there. Or sometimes it's like just let them go to that room, and whether it's water in that room as well, it's like this is your room. Make this your space. Let it be monitored so nobody tear it up. But like let's take a little bit of those dollars that y'all use to build juvenile programs and whatever else into putting it into like let's sustain them in a way that help them be able to manage whatever that they dealing with because they humans too. They go through stuff just like we do. And that's the
Yes.
crazy part, right? Like just like what you said with the teachers, schools are just not supporting them either. That's why they work overworked and burnt out, and they'll come and quit the same
Yes.
day, right? And then we mad at
Yes.
teachers who came and quit that same day, like, oh, they don't care. Well, how much was they supposed to take on or deal with without with no support before they break, right? Like we just stretching
Yes.
them and bending them too far. You giving them, like I said, 25 to 30 kids for one teacher, and then all we focus on is the numbers, and it's like that's 25 lives that teacher is dealing with on a day to day, on top of what
25 different personalities.
Yeah, and on top of what they may have dealt with before they even got there too, right? That teacher is a human and has a family themselves. Like, are we supporting that human and their family too, so that when they come to work, they feel like, all right, cool, I'm taken care of. I need to make sure that I take like. There's no system. I haven't seen a just like a concerted compassion system that's like we gonna all take care of each other. We gonna work to take care of each other. Um, for some reason we quantify everything.
Oh
We
yeah.
commodify time, and if you ain't got this, then you ain't gonna get this amount of resources and paid. And it's just like where none of it says like, oh, we appreciate you, we love you for the work that we do. Here's what it is, right? We just value you on
Mm,
this level. Here's what it is. What support do you need? Where do you need us to step in at? Uh, and instead, it's like, oh, that kid bad, cool. Send him to the SSO officer. Or like, all right, we got suspension
mm,
programs, we got detention programs. And when teachers get frustrated, which as they should, because they human, it's the first thing that they want to go to too. And it could be something that the student not even have done. The teacher, or like teachers need resets and they need rooms and they need. So it's just, it's like when are we going to say like, hey, this is school and education is a community thing. Like relate, all it is
yes.
relationships. It's just relationships. We
Absolutely.
gotta figure out how to
Absolutely.
have relationships with people. It's just we need healthy relationships. There shouldn't be no hierarchy level of, oh, I'm the adult, you the child, you sit down, you shut up, or I'm the teacher. It's like it's just a relationship. You gotta learn how to have a healthy relationship with another human being. So then if you want them to
Yes.
like everything else will fall in place, like a video that just went is going viral because Will Smith just released his book called Will, and
Yes.
he did a talk in Philly. And one of the things he said was, all it is to love and to be loved, and then everything else should be shaped around that. And I
Mm,
agree with that wholeheartedly. Is that like if we can just figure out how to love on each other, and then let that love be reciprocated, and we give it. You can get a lot of other things that you're trying to get done, whether you want them to have whatever, go to whatever college you want them to go to, play whatever sport, or just be whoever that you need them to be. That can happen with love, but um, in Philly and in a lot of other cities, we internalized, right? So like things like slavery that we never talk about anymore, or Black history, or just Black and Brown history. That intergenerational trauma, we internalized it, and we look at our own selves as criminals, and we hate it, and we hate our own bodies, and we hate our own skin. And so, since
yes.
we don't love ourselves, we're not gonna love the next man. And so soon as
Yes.
the next man offend me in any way possible because my insecurities is there, or my ego is there, I don't love myself, so I don't even know how to show love to you, and so I won't show love to you. Right? I'm just gonna be violent. But the thing
Mm,
is, right, what nobody never talk about is we learned that from white people. We did. We learned violence from when they came and they kidnapped, and when our ancestors couldn't figure out no other way but to get freedom, but to jump in the ocean. When we was getting raped, or when we was getting up, it's like we learned violence from them, and then we internalized all of the violence that they put on us, and we never got no type of compensation. We don't get no type of time. Like there's a law. I think it just got passed. I'm not sure if it was Texas or Tennessee, but like they don't. They got rid of the critical race theory, which pretty much just allows you to look at, right, to look at history and learn from it.
yes.
So instead of us
Yes.
wanting to look at it and learn from it, we want to pretend that it never happened. But the trauma and the pain, that it's just in our skin, it's like in our blood. There's no work for that. Nobody wants to
Mm,
do no work for that. We don't want to talk about that. We want to give you Black History Month, and say that that's enough. And they don't want to talk about how we learned violence from them, but yet we get the most violent criminal forms of punishment. And so it gets very deep and it gets very intricated. And yet all we get is ADHD. We get pills. We get
labeled.
psychotherapy. Yeah, we
Yes.
get labeled, and we get pushed back into another system. Um, and none of it says like I care about you, or I love you, or like you're worth it. It just doesn't. And so, just in
So,
Philly, I was the
so
same way.
no, I'm sorry. You were saying in Philly what?
In Philly, I was the same way, right? Like
Yeah.
it's super hard to be. I was doing workshops anywhere, but just teaching people how to break down that immediate like masculine barrier to where you can't interact with another person because it looks because of just how we look towards each other, or like you can feel that like, or maybe that person is a threat. Like I was teaching people how to break that down so that you can interact. Like it is cool um, to do that because our environments is just breeding the chaos now. We just on we having chaotic babies and we making chaotic families, and our villages is just right chaos, and there is no, if the village is supposed to raise the child, but if the village is not taken care of either, it's like where
Yeah,
do we
and
go?
I want to also give my appreciation to those schools that have taken the initiative to have those spaces, those calming rooms, those calming environments. And even, I mean, I saw it, I definitely saw it in the charter school systems that I've been exposed to, that they've had that autonomy to be able to create that, but also the district schools that have taken the initiative to do it. But my concern is it happening in every school? You know, does every school
Right.
have this space? Does every school have that school leader, or have that relationship with the community, where they're making sure that there's a space like that at their child's school? That if, you
Yeah.
know, if their child is having a meltdown, you know, are they going to say, okay, we're going to, you know, pull the child out, we're going to go to this safe space, we're going to try to, you know, help the child to calm down, so it doesn't resort to a suspension, it doesn't resort to the need to for the child to be taken away. You know, it could be taken
Yeah.
away by a mobile crisis team, it could be taken away by the local police, you know, depending on what's going on. So for all of those that are working and pushing and working hard to make sure that it either happens or it continues to happen in their school, you know,
Mhm.
kudos to you. To those that do not have that kind of space, you need to reach out. You need to reach out to to whatever community organizations, people like you can, you know, that, you know, because I'm quite sure you're here, and I'm glad you're here and fully doing what you're doing. But I'm quite sure that there are people in certain cities, in certain states, or in certain communities that don't have the ability to have that, but they need to demand it. And that's the thing, they have to demand it. They have to, you
Yeah.
know, make some noise and say, listen, we're not
Mhm.
going to continue to allow you to take our children, our future, and label them and put them in a box and put them away. No, we didn't have our children for that. You know, our children are here. They are a blessing for everyone around, and they need to be taken care of. Yes, many of us have gone through traumatic situations and have had very rough um experiences and loss and grief, but don't compound that situation by not making it better for our children. And don't allow it to be a perpetual generational, and I call it, you know, it's a generational educational genocide, because people do not want to educate each other. They don't want to educate themselves on how to better handle these kinds of situations when a young person is angry or upset or depressed. They don't want to they don't want to look at it, because that stigma of, if I'm around a person that has a mental health issue, oh no. No, we have to get away from that and understand that everyone has their moments, and we have to help them and not ignore them.
Yeah. It's what I don't do a good job of saying is that like I want to do that any and everywhere whoever would want it, right? So like if anybody sees this, I don't care what level of worker that they may have put you as, or whatever ranking you may have, if it's from the janitor up to like racial trauma healing is what I love. Uh, and I love it. And it needs to be, like you said, it needs to be demanded. When I was cold calling principals, I was making it very urgent. Like this is very urgent. We losing lives, and so how much we gonna continue to play? Like, how you call yourself a principal, or whatever, ahead of a body of people, and we losing lives? Like, what are you doing? What are you gonna do? And it's like, you don't know. Cool. Like, let's work together. I can help you, right? Like, It's what I love to do, and I spend time just coming up with things for different schools, right? But some people love um, checklists, whether it's like CBT or whatever the case may be. But like I break it down for you, very plain English, of like
Mm-hmm.
something as just simple as like we need to learn how to do relationships, and there's brain science behind it. There's so much research. There's so many people already out there, and so much knowledge and books that I just love studying and reading. That it's like it's there. The information is there. Like on how to heal, that stuff is there. It's been done. People are doing it, and we it has to infiltrate every level, um, starting at even at daycare, starting at um,
Yes.
right, like even starting at babies, right? I love the
Yes.
teenage
Yes.
adolescents, because that was my other way of seeing like if I can't catch you as a baby, I can catch you here, and it's definitely easier if I catch you as a baby, but I can definitely catch you still before you walk into adulthood on how to prepare for life stressors. So when life hits you because it's supposed to, you feel okay, and it's like, cool, I'm okay, right? Like, yeah, I'm frustrated, or yeah, this didn't go my way, that door closed, but I'm okay. I still have life, whatever the case may be. But this need to be infiltrated on every level. Because if the first 3 years shape the rest of your life, then the first 3 years we need to be loving up on any and every baby that we see, right? But like that's another topic. What I recently learned about this idea of touch. Uh, we move so far away from touch, but touch is can be very healing for people. Touch can help regulate um, heart rates. It can help regulate uh, blood pressure. A simple
Mm-hmm.
touch can help calm down. But there's a difference between appropriate and inappropriate touch, right? So like
Yes.
that's for sure
Mm-hmm.
what we need to be very clear of. Uh, but now with COVID, we got to stand 6 feet. But like a hug, if you give some like I don't know if you ever been going through something and you received a hug at that right moment, that'll break you down, and you'll be like
Yeah.
it'll help you. So it's like there's things that don't cost you anything, but like that's why you see those certain teachers going viral for having a handshake with every one of their students because that touch, like that high five, generates uh, connection, community, love, existence, belonging. So it's like there's things that don't cost you anything that you can do on every level to acknowledge somebody. Another thing that we can do is when it comes to helping people deal with their anger is that won't cost you anything is to simply like when you ask somebody, hey, what's up, or hey, how you doing, you got to go one step further. Don't let them tell you, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm chilling, or like my day is going. Like inquire about what does that mean for them, because I know for me, I know when the person don't really care about how I'm feeling or what my day really was like, so I can just be like, oh yeah, I'm cool. They be like, good, glad to hear it. But if you inquire just a little bit more, like, so like, hey, how was your day at school? It's like, oh, it was good. What that mean? Just it. Ask it. Just ask one more
Yes.
question. Like, so what that mean? It
Yes.
was good. And keep asking questions. And that because they want to talk and tell you, but if they can feel that you ain't a person that really want to care or really want to know about it, there's no point in talking to you. They feel like so it's like ask that
You're
one
right.
extra question of like, so what does good mean? What you eat? How was it? Was it nasty?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
what you
It's
do,
it's
right?
funny because I learned a long time ago because I'm older than you. I'm probably could be old enough to be your mom. Um, don't ask a person how they're doing unless you're willing to listen to their response,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a quick response or
Mm-hmm.
a long response. So be mindful of how your approach, your delivery. If it just says, hey, just keep it, that's always going to be for you. Say that. Good morning, good afternoon, good
Yeah.
night, keep it moving. But if you're going to take the time to ask a person, how are you? Or how are things going? Like you said, take that extra moment and listen. Because you'd be surprised. And check in on folks. I mean, I am known to randomly text a lot of folks and just to say, I'm just doing a check in. Is everything okay? You good? I thought about you today. Um, just because I authentically care and wondering if that person is okay. And it's like it does give you a boost. It does give a person, that it was nice to be thought of.
Mm-hmm.
And all it is, and it doesn't take a lot. And for young people, it's great. It's great. Like someone asked me the other day. I mean, I have little ones as well as grown children. So When I'm walking with the little ones and we're walking through the schoolyard or walking around the building of the school, and I see people that I know and I speak to them, even parents and children that I may not know on a first name basis, I always say good morning. Hey, good morning. I love your coat, or I love your hat, or those are nice sneakers. And they see my little ones doing the same thing. My son is really quick. He's 5, but he's really quick to say to the ladies, "I like your hair. That looks very nice. You look really nice today." And it's
Yeah.
funny. People say, "Oh, well, he's gonna be a flirt." Maybe he will be a flirt, but he's understanding. They're understanding at a young age that a kind word goes a long way, and it has a ripple effect. So now when people see us coming, walking around the school as I drop them off, they know, speak, say hello back.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
thing. It's
Yeah.
always a nice thing, and it helps a person to start their day off, because like you said, you don't know what they were going through on their way to school or on their way to
Nope.
work. You don't know what kind of
Nope.
evening that person may have had in their home environment. So you can be that person that following day that makes their day just by giving
Yeah.
them a kind word or a smile,
Yeah.
because you may not have
Yeah.
the
No.
time, but if you just in passing, if you just smile, that can also lift the person's self-esteem, brighten up their day. And like you said, hugging, oh my goodness, I'm a hugger. So during this time of COVID, it's been very hard for me. And culturally, we like to hug.
Yeah.
We like to give a
Warm
person a
embrace.
hug. We like to give a person that peck on the cheek. That's just customarily, culturally what we're used to doing. So the fact that a lot of us haven't been able to do it, or have made sure, keep the mask on, still hug, do that peck on the cheek, still with the mask on, is still just showing that we care. But the education piece, and I
Yeah.
always go back to education, is in making sure that people understand the importance of making sure it's not just the math, the science, the
Mhm.
reading, but it's also that mental health piece, that self-care piece, that it's okay to just unplug from everything. People get mad when they say that they don't have access to Wi-Fi or the internet. It's okay to be off of, TikTok and Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter for a day. It's okay. It's okay to not, to just take a day for yourself and do something other than what you've been doing every single day. And hopefully you're able to. But if we see the need for folks, especially our young people, to be able to be given the tools to be able to cope, talk to me about a new.
So, yeah, a new was started because of a lot of the stuff that I've been through in life, and I realized that I just wasn't prepared to deal with life at all. I was a smart student, great grades, but the things of life to help me build my character, my purpose, grow as a man, I just didn't learn it, and I didn't have it in there. That wasn't the focus. It was just education. And so like for example, like you said, we don't know what a person went through. So my whole high school career, um, in the morning time we fought other schools, and after school we fought other schools, and that's on our way to school. Uh, and not because I wanted to, but because that was the environment in which I had to. Like I taking a long way would make me late sometimes. So it's like I have to go down this way in order to get to school. And they internalize hate themselves, and they just don't like me because of my uniform. And so like you go get it in, but then you sit in school and you already hyped up and you aroused, and teachers don't know you just got into who knows how many fights, but they telling that you to sit down, shut up, just focus on this, do this. Y'all can't do this. I already got mine. You need to get you. It's just more on piling on top of what you just went through. Then you got to go through that when you go on your way home.
Mm,
um, and then you get home, and whatever your home situation may look like, uh, so it's like that's all day stressors, and we already know
yes.
the research behind what stress can lead to. They know what it can do. I mean, which is why they benefit from it. Why there's heart medicine and why there's other things. Um, But it was going to college and flunking out my freshman year, only having a 1.0 GPA. Mind you, I was a straight A high school student. So it was like, where was the gap? Like, how did I go from straight A's to getting a 1.0, having like two F's and two C's, getting an F for the first time, dealing with um, that challenge, going to college in general, right? They pushed me to go to college because that's what they tell you supposed to do. But then I didn't know nothing about college. I didn't know how to get books. I didn't know how to add and drop classes. Or I didn't know what resources were. I had to reteach myself how to learn this. And it was like, do everybody got to go through this, right? Or is it just certain people? Um, and so then after that, it's like, all right, cool. I got a degree with all this debt. I don't even know what to do with it, right? I don't even know like what I want to do because college wasn't necessarily built for us, and then it doesn't teach you uh, how to go make money or how to even get a job with your degree. And so now I got over 50,000 in debt with a degree, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. But then they told me to go to more school, and so then I went and got my master's, and now I got like 100,000 in debt, right? But like I'm not making that, so like it's just piling on. The struggles is piling on, the failures is piling on, and it's like I can't be the only one going through this. And if it's other boys, other men, just other people in general that is going through this, besides me extending oh, I know what that feels like, or I've been there
Yes.
before kind of thing. Besides me doing that, it's like, oh, I need to help people. I need to help my
Yes.
people. And so I just got very skilled at what I frame like concerted compassion. I've been taking courses besides my master's degree and pass tests, right? Like I can pass tests and get licensure and all that kind of stuff. But it's like my people don't care about that, right? It's like it's cool to have those letters and stuff behind your name, but it's like you said, like what can you do for me? And
Yes.
so a new started from that is creating resources, is creating workshops. It's like that's all I spend my free time doing, right? Like now that I got my son. Before that, it's just like building up curriculums to help organizations that deal with black boys and babies and men on any level, on how to infiltrate and add social emotional learning through schools, right? Schools have processes, they have MTSS process. Like, well, where can you implement uh,
Yes.
some sort of change to help produce a different type of human being, right? Like I have curriculums for that. There's stuff for parents that I've been now creating because I'm starting to realize a lot of moms is coming to me asking, and then a few dads for sure is coming to me asking like what do I do? I feel like I'm losing my son. So then I got
Mm-hmm.
real big on like learning the adolescent brain, and it's like this is
Yes.
why you feel like you losing your son. I'm gonna teach you about their brains, and then this is what you can do to help support their brain development. And it's not gonna be easy, but like this is what you can do, right? So I have resources for that. Then I personally was going out and literally doing one-on-ones where you do stuff like play therapy to help a certain age group, but like you do play therapy and help them figure out what they feeling. I don't have the answers. My goal is to help you pull it out of yourself. You know who you are, you
That's
know what
right.
it is. But I got resources and tools that's gonna help you pull it out. And I got resources and tools for schools that's gonna help get that best from that kid. Whether that's schools, that's organizations, that's after school programs, that's camps. It's like anybody who's working with kids, like when y'all meet as a staff, as a team, don't just be talking about the numbers and evaluations. And it's like, um, you also need to learn how to support your staff, and I can help you support your staff. But also, the main goal is like be able to support the just the future leaders that you are raising. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's just what I study and do for my passion. I'm young, so I got a long way to go and live, and I love it. I love the learning. I love being able to just be there for people. My energy and love for people is there. So just a little quick story about what you said about just simply like seeing people. When I was practicing to get my license in social work, they give you a lunch break. We had a lunch break. I was up in Newark, New Jersey, so and I'm not from Newark, but I was trying to find somewhere to eat. And I was crossing the street. It was like a 4-lane one way, and the cars was coming quick. So I just kind of like skirted across the street. And the guy that was on the corner when I crossed it, he was like, "Man, you better get out that street. They're gonna hit you up here." And I responded to that,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "If they hit me, you got me right." Like I just gave him like a little bit of conversation, and he stopped me and he stared at me. He was like, "Wow." And I was like, "You all right?" And he was like, "You know, you're the first person that like looked at me today. And on top of that, you didn't
Mm.
first person that said something to me today. And I was like, what you
Look at
mean?
that.
He was like, you just said, like, you said something to me. I don't know how else to put it. You actually said something, like you spoke to me. And I'm like, yeah, like
Yes.
that's what you do. And he was like, well, what you don't know is I just got out of prison. And
Mm.
so like I literally just got out and I'm trying to go back to what I known before I was in prison, but I don't even know if that's still there. He was like, but you the first person that said something to me. So like, right, his existence, he didn't even feel like he existed because that's what we do, especially in
Yeah.
city
Yes.
environments. We go from A to B. We ignore any and everybody, right? We got tunnel vision, and I
Yes.
got to get to work. And anybody in my way, you got to get out of my way. And I don't even see you. You walking down the street, we all
Mm.
in our phones. We don't acknowledge nobody. And for him, just having a little conversation, just saying like just acknowledging him for who he was, or just being like, whatever, a little bit of laughter, it took him a long way. He didn't need nothing else from
Yes.
that. He ain't asked me for no
Yes.
money. He ain't asked me for no time. He just was very like he was stuck on the fact that like for him it felt like, oh shoot, like you see me, like I'm a right, because once
Yes.
you in prison and you go through that system, you feel like you just not a person and you don't exist. So it's like I say that
You
to wrap
treated
up,
him like a human.
yeah, to wrap it up and everything, right? It's all about human relationships, and
Yes.
it, it goes through every level. I don't care what you're doing and what you're working with, right? Like, shoot, I want to get into Tesla. I heard Tesla's having huge issues with racism, and it's like because y'all didn't figure out how to deal with people yet. Y'all figured out how to make nice
Yes.
cars and technology, but you don't know how to work with people. So your employees is gonna always quit and leave. So it's like,
Mm.
yeah, anywhere you can go, it's just people.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe how quickly, and I always have amazing guests, but it just boggles my mind how fast my time goes.
Yeah, I
So
know.
as I
I
was
never know.
as we're listening to you, I made sure I put your email up so that if there's anyone that wants to reach out to you, if there's any
Mm,
educator, school leader that wants to reach
yeah,
out to you and talk to you about bringing what you know, your knowledge to their school, to their school community, family, please reach out to Kenn because he is a resource that is worth it. Like so many others, if you have resources in your community, go to who you would recognize, go
yeah,
to who you would better relate with,
yeah,
um and don't allow the powers that be to dictate to you who are you going to go to for help. So
hmm.
Ken, I want to thank you for agreeing
Thank
to
you.
come back because people some may
Always,
not know that you were my guest last year, and I
yeah,
truly and I said I have to bring you back, especially with you know each day that keeps on going by. I'm seeing more and more, and I'm done, and I appreciate that you said, and I'm not knocking anyone that has gone through the sleepless nights, the brain drain, the financial debt of getting those letters behind their name. But I don't have any of those letters behind my name, but I still want to do my part. I
for
still
sure.
want to be there and be available to anyone, and I want to be
Mm,
able to point people in the direction of people like you. I know that much. I have that much sense and knowledge, and I have learned, and I have researched, and I know that I have a group of people that I know that I have been fortunate to get to know on my path, that have the knowledge and know the tools that can then be a resource to others to help make things better for our most important treasures, and it's our children. Because if
yep,
we don't take care of them and be there for them and help them on their path, they're gonna go down the opposite end, and it's gonna end up in the violence that we're seeing now, that's exploding, that's been exploding, that we have to try to appease. And
yeah,
jail is not always the best route, so we want to do everything to prevent it from getting to that point for all of our young men and women, all of our young black and brown young men and women and indigenous that are going through it right now because no one is understanding them, and
yep,
people that have access to the resources, the money, to inject those funds where they are needed to try to help They need to do it.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you so much, Ken, for coming on.
Thank you.
You've been great. Again, my deepest condolences on the loss of your father.
Thank you.
The loss of a parent is very hard, and
Yeah.
take care of that sweet baby of yours, and
Thank you.
you and I will talk soon. Thank
Yep.
you so much. I'm
All
just gonna
right.
say bye to the folks for a few minutes, but thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Family, thank you so very much for those of you that have taken the time to tune in. A very special thank you to my folks up top, to my folks in Atlanta, to my folks in South Jersey, all of you that have blessed me with, and some of my folks, and even the folks up in Boston. So all of you that decided to bless me with your presence and tune in and listen in. I always strive to bring people on that will help you, give you the information that you need. Hopefully you had an aha moment during this conversation, and I'm hoping that you have these types of resources in your schools, communities as well. And if you don't, you know, have them reach out to a gentleman, a young man like Kenn Bourne that has been trained, that is eager to give these kinds of resources and knowledge and information to people out there, so that everyone can get this assistance and this help, because it's sorely needed in our communities. And for all of our parents, please, please, please make demands of your schools. Make demands of them. If you don't see that your children are getting the services that they need, if the neighborhood children aren't getting the services that they need, if your neighborhood is not getting the services that they need from their school, make demands. Make demands. Go to that next school board meeting. Pull up, go onto the National Parents Union website and look up the Epic campaign. Make sure that you have the questions. We have questions already prepared that a person can ask. So you don't have to boggle your brain and say, I don't know what to ask. It's all there. You have the right to know, to be informed, to be a part of that decision-making process when it comes to what happens in your child's school. Your child has an educational career that's important to you and your family, as well as the community at large, because their success during their school career will equate to their success after they finish school. And it doesn't mean that the child has to go to college. Whatever career path or educational path your child wants to go to after high school, the time is now to make sure we're establishing that foundation for their success. And the only way that's going to happen is if we hold these systems accountable. It's the systems. There are many people that cannot do what they would like to do because the systems are not allowing them to do it. And the systems are residing at those school districts. So you as a parent or guardian should go to those meetings, demand your time, be a part of those sessions so that you can be informed, and then take that information back to all those parents and guardians that weren't able to attend because of their work responsibilities or their family responsibilities, and take it back to the schools. Because a lot of times those school leaders, their hands are tied. They can only do so much. But I bet you if a group of parents from that school went and made some noise, they would be given some autonomy and be able to affect change in your baby's schools. And that's the only way it's going to happen. Please be safe. Thank you for tuning in. Until the next time, thank you very much. Have a good rest of your evening.